So let's start with some obesity trends. Is this going to show up? So this is, the red line is obese children and the blue line is overweight children. So we could look at the blue line and we could say, listen, from 95 to this period, hasn't increased a hell of a lot. Okay, so the overweight children hasn't. What you've noticed though, if you look at the obese line, we're going from around about 12, peaks at around about 19. You know, that's a 60% increase, a massive increase. So what is probably happening is the kids that were overweight are probably now obese, and kids that are normal weight are now probably overweight. And if we total those two groups, we've got about just under a third of the population. You know, so we're turning out around about a third of our children at the moment overweight and obese. So how much activity should children have? So the headlines are about 60 minutes a day. 60 minutes a day, which doesn't sound that much, but I'm sure you guys will back me up here. It's probably not what most kids do. Some of the research shows most kids meet the adult of half an hour a day. Most kids get somewhere near that, but they probably don't, at the moment, don't get to the 60-ish. So we've got to get back to that 60 minutes a day, and that 60 minutes is best accumulated through the day rather than in one slot. Alright, so that includes things like walking to school, playing in the playground, cycling here and there. Moderate activity we would define as brisk walking, steady cycling, playing outdoors. Alright, so they don't have to be dripping with sweat, it's that kind of being activity, but the kids don't tend to do that anyway. The way fitness works is you stress something and the body responds by building that up. Alright, so it's only by actually putting weight through the bone that we create a position where the body releases the hormones to actually increase that body density.
What's particularly good in that respect?
Anything weight bearing, so you know, you're being on your feet, jumping up and down, moving, climbing, all those things are fantastic. Right. Now, what do you know about growth spurts? When do we growth spurt? Maybe you didn't.
Well, different ages, isn't it, really?
So there tends to be a spurt round about, the 6 to 8 age group in both males and females. Up until that age group, they're pretty much anatomically identical, apart from some obvious things. But basically, in terms of what we're looking at, there's no real difference. So they both get growth spurt round about 6 to 8. You then get another growth spurt, which kind of is the start of your adolescence, so that happens slightly earlier in girls, usually 11 to 13. So we're talking about 8 to 11-year-olds. Some of those girls might be just hitting that period. Boys are usually a little bit later. In terms of neuromuscular then, the main thing that happens at the 8 to 11 age group is most of your motor skill development is finished. What do I mean by motor skills? Sorry? Movement, yeah. Balance is one.
Hand-eye
coordination, hand-eye, foot-eye, what I'd call proprioception. So your ability to throw, catch, coordinate your body is mostly done in that period. So before they've hit a specialist PE teacher, most of that motor skill development's done. Right, so that's why the play environment could be so important here in terms of building those gross motor skills, or those motor skills that can be taken then into the different sports. The takeaway point for you guys is we've got to develop this motor skill in that play environment, in any environment we can, including play, by 12. Kids tend to have a reasonably well developed aerobic system, but they don't tend to have these. Okay, so they're aerobic. Now, what that means is when things get too difficult, they actually don't have much capacity to keep going through that. So what they like doing is playing for long periods of time where they run it and they have a bit of a stop-start. I remember taking my son to this laser party thing, and they just ran. It was brilliant. They ran for an hour, chased someone, stopped. They weren't thinking consciously they're having a rest, but that's what they were doing. Then they'd run around, you know, and they'd keep running, stopping. They came out and I counted all these sweaty heads at the end. So, have you noticed, kids don't have sweat glands apart from their heads and feet. So that's why they don't tend to sweat here. So in terms of thermoregulation, it's important that we help them out with the water, with appropriate clothing, environments, etc. But yeah, they can only sweat in their heads and feet. Have you noticed that? That's why you get hot heads.
bit of a